Hey guys, Coach Rach here. This podcast is intended to inspire, educate, and support you on your health and fitness journey. I am not a medical doctor and cannot give any professional medical advice. If you are suffering from any kind of medical condition, whether it's mental or physical, please seek help from a qualified health practitioner. Welcome to the Diet Starts Never podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Nigro, aka Coach Rach. This podcast will teach you how to live your healthiest life in and out of the gym and put yourself first again. Oh, and we get long-lasting results here. I've made it my mission to help my clients ditch the diet mentality and heal their relationship with food and themselves. After transforming hundreds of bodies and minds, it's your turn. Are you ready? We've been told from a very young age, if you have a negative body image, to change your body and it will fix your body image. Unfortunately, that is not always the case. As a health and fitness professional, I encounter so many people who struggle with disordered eating, body image, and yo-yo dieting. In addition, there are so many health and fitness professionals who don't know how to properly support someone who struggles in that area because it is out of our scope of practice. It is time to increase awareness and change our approach to overall health and wellness. So on today's episode, I am bringing on a very special guest. Her name is Randi Zimmerman, and she's a licensed therapist who specializes in eating disorder treatment and recovery. My goal for this episode is to spread awareness. I want to change the verbiage that we're using in the health and fitness community. I want to stop focusing on the number on the scale and start focusing on how you feel in your body and your health. And that's why I asked Randi to come on the show, because this is what she does. She is going to help us all learn to love ourselves a little bit more, and she's going to help the health and fitness coach do better for our clients. So I'm going to ask you one thing from this episode. No matter who you are, no matter who you're listening to, share it. Post it to your Instagram story, send it to your friends. This is so much bigger than before and after pictures. We're talking about your health here. We're talking about living the best, most fullest life you absolutely can. Post it on your story, tag all of your other coaching friends, DM it to every person you know. Let's get this word out. A change isn't going to happen unless we make it happen. So please help me make this change, because we're going to affect so many lives for the better with this. I'm going to bring Randi on. She is such a positive, beautiful soul on this earth. And I'm really grateful that you're here to listen to her and have the opportunity to hear what she's got to say. Randi, hi.
Hi, Rachel.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here.
Tell us about yourself and what do you do?
So I am the founder and the lead therapist at a group therapy practice called the Time Is Always Now Therapy Group. I have a great team of therapists, and we do see all ages, all genders, all issues. We do have a specialty in eating disorder treatment and recovery. And I've been doing that for the last 20 years in one way or another. Yeah.
Amazing. Besides doing all of that, Randi's always been just such a positive energy. She said to me the other day, which I love so much, I think I've told so many people this, she goes, I have to be careful with what I think because my thoughts are magic, which they are. I quoted you like 5 times since you said that to me. And I think they are. I think they're such magic. And I think you put such a great energy out into the world. So all of your clients are very lucky.
Thanks, Rach. I do try.
Yeah, you do a great job at it. So Randi and I, we want to be very open and honest with you guys from the start. We have a conflict of interest because I help women lose weight and she helps people deal with, what would you say more so?
Everything from on the spectrum, from negative body image through body hatred, through eating disorders, through severe eating disorders.
Right. And yes, it definitely is a conflict of interest, but at the end of the day, we both have your health and well-being in mind. So I think it's taken me a long time to get to where I am today with really focusing on overall wellness and not just the weight loss. So in the past, I've asked Randi to collab with me and do episodes. And what did you say?
I said no.
Why?
Well, because of weight stigma and fat phobia and the thin ideal that we're all embroiled in for so many years, And a lot of people don't understand how weight stigma is perpetuated. And the weight loss focus, the overvaluation of appearance of body, the measurement and judgment of a person based on their size and shape and ability to change that size and shape is what leads to weight stigma, which leads to fat phobia. And that leads not only to unrealistic expectations, which leave us disappointed with ourselves and feeling not good enough all the time from a very, very young age. But even more than that, there's this medical inequity that happens when people that live in larger bodies go for medical attention. And the pat answer is, well, if you lose weight, you'll feel better.
Right.
And so often, serious medical issues are missed and prolonged when they could be addressed because that person is in that body at that moment. So we really can't wait to treat people until they lose weight. And so that's really, in a nutshell, why it's been hard for me to collaborate with you, because it really is a conflict for me when I see what the attention to weight loss does and the harm that it does to so many. Everybody from an average typical person in an average typical body to somebody with a severe eating disorder.
Of course. And I'm so grateful that you finally said yes, because I myself, I help so many people. I have so many conversations every single day. And I try to be so careful with my words. As you know, this podcast is called Diet Starts Never, because I'm so sick of people associating dieting with weight loss. It's not. It's your diet. It's your nutrition, your lifestyle. Everybody's heard me say that a million times. But I myself, I want to be the best health professional I can be. Like, not even talking about like weight loss and looking how somebody wants to be. I want to help somebody get as healthy as possible. And I personally, I need to know what to look out for. I need to know the signs. I need to know how I can help somebody who is struggling. So Randy's going to help us all learn how to help anybody who is struggling today, but most importantly, just how to love ourselves a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm on board with that.
Very excited. Let's just start with overall body image. Body image and disordered eating can be a very uncomfortable topic for anybody to speak about. So how can we be a little bit more transparent?
I think we just ask, right?
Yeah.
We ask the right questions, and hopefully we'll get answers that help you as a fitness professional to assess where somebody is on that continuum. And unfortunately, fitness professionals are not really taught this.
Yeah.
The equation is, if you have negative body image, change your body, you'll change your body image. And we know that that's not necessarily so.
No.
In the healthiest of minds and people, yeah, that can happen. Right? You have a goal, you set that goal, you change something about your body, and body image shifts, and all is well. And I don't know if there's any research, but that is a really, really low percentage, because
I don't know anybody who's ever done that with no problems.
So I'm curious, in your work, when somebody is seeing physical results, appearance results, do they usually say, okay, I'm good?
I don't think anybody ever says, okay, I'm good. They always want that more. How can I push it even further? How can I, get even stronger? How can I get even leaner is a lot of what I see. But I've been working really hard with my clients to help them detach from that scale, detach from how they're looking, and focus on how they're feeling. I say all the time, if you get healthy from the inside out, that aesthetic goal will follow. As long as you take care of yourself, you need to learn how to love yourself now, in your body now, if you want to love yourself then.
Okay, so assessment tools then would probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
Assessing body image. So everything is on a continuum, right? So we have everything from a neutral body image, a positive body image, to body hatred.
Right.
And so that might be an important thing for you to assess, right? To find an assessment tool. There are tools to find an assessment scale, if you will,
Yeah.
so that you can find out where people are on that continuum. And then you'll know how at risk they are for developing this fixation or preoccupation with the appearance of their body and or eating issues.
Right.
Because along with, right, don't we hear diet and exercise, diet and exercise?
Yeah.
So we know it goes hand in hand, right? On the one hand, we have to fuel our bodies,
Of course.
move our bodies.
Absolutely.
And if there's not a good relationship, if there's not really a healthy relationship between those two, then we know that we've got to look out for that. So I think assessment tools, not only that, but if I was a fitness professional, you're going to see a larger percentage of people that have negative body image, body hatred, disordered eating through severe eating disorders. You're going to see more of a percentage than a lot of other professionals.
Yeah, I see it every day. I see it every day.
So there are assessment tools. There's a simple 26 question assessment tool called EAT 26 that will give you an idea about where somebody is. And if somebody is coming to you with an active eating disorder, then I think you act in one way. If somebody's coming to you on the continuum, then there's other things you watch out for.
Right.
So there's a way to treat somebody that is coming in with their typical, and their assessments look okay, sort of in the average norm range of what you would expect, which is also still pathological because, again, we're really taught to not be satisfied with our bodies and our appearance. And we're also taught that our bodies is all about appearance.
Right. I think you had said to me on our Zoom call the other day, you said it's very difficult to detach from that appearance because it's the first thing that people see, which I get. But how do we find the balance between learning to love yourself in your present, how you currently are, and working towards that goal?
Okay, so how do we, right?
Yeah.
How do we
do that?
Well, first, so the body positivity movement came about, and and everybody started wanting to love our bodies, and then there was a lot of pushback to that because there's a long way to go for a lot of people, and they felt like that was an expectation that the culture really doesn't support.
Right.
So can we move towards body acceptance, body neutrality? When I'm working with somebody with body image issues, I might find what do they like about their bodies,
right,
and focus on that.
Okay.
And then accepting, there's stuff I don't like about my body, and I accept that.
Yeah,
I don't like I hate my body, and I accept that. I mean, that sounds harsh, but the acceptance piece gives us a place to stand still for a moment and just say it is what it is, and I'm not going to be dishonest about this, and I'm not going to have to fake it. But it's also, there's a place to move from that.
Right. So what is body neutrality?
It's really not having the pressure to love your body. It's also having the pushback to say, but I will not hate it.
Okay.
So there's no love, there's no hate. It is just my body.
Right.
This is my body.
Yeah, and that's important. And I think even so, when you tell somebody, like, just state like some really cool facts about their body, like it wakes you up every day. Your heart is beating, your hair is growing, like your legs move. For those who are blessed with moving legs, if you say that to them, I think that right there alone, like when I hear that, no matter what kind of negative body image state I'm in that day, I'm like, you know what, you're right. I love my body for what it is.
Right.
So I think having those reminders, maybe even having like those affirmations written down, like kind of keeping like in your back pocket your list of what you love about your body for times that you're not feeling so much love.
Well, and if you can't do love, can you do grateful?
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Right?
Grateful.
Can you do grateful? I am so grateful for my nose.
Yeah.
Because I can breathe.
Yeah.
Right? So we used to do this exercise in group where we would identify a part of the body that somebody really was fixated on or didn't like. And then we would ask them not to use it for, a portion of the day, let's say 2 hours a day. So we had this one woman who, for some reason, hated her thumbs. Okay. And this body dysmorphia will happen that way, right? And you'll ask people, and you would think sort of like the normative things that people hate. What do they mention? Thighs and bellies and noses and things like that. So she had this thing with her thumbs. And so she was a smoothie maker.
Oh, no.
And she chose to not use her thumbs while she was at work. She literally taped them up.
Stop it.
And she realized that she had this whole new respect for her thumbs.
I love that so much.
Was so grateful, and she was able to come back to group and say, I am so grateful to use my thumbs.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Yeah. All right, so let's put that in terms of, okay, a lot of people have issues with their stomach. Mm-hmm. How would somebody not use their stomach for a day?
It would be hard, right, not to use their stomach for a day.
You couldn't eat.
And maybe that's the part to be grateful about. It's not even up to you whether you use your stomach.
You're not allowed to not use it. You have to. You have no choice.
Right. Yeah. You have to use your stomach. It's not some things are, like you said before, your body's doing all these amazing things involuntarily. Mm-hmm. You're not even asking, oh, you want to get up and walk across the room? You just go. Your whole body just goes. Yeah. Your feet just go. Your legs just go.
I could flip my hair right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
But see, so for you as a fitness professional, taking and I know it's a scary concept to take your allure and your pull for clients off of the weight loss piece, is the practice of when you're working with them, for them to really be present with their muscles, with their bones, with their skin, with their breath. Are they feeling themselves getting stronger? Can they see themselves getting more flexible? What does it feel like? What does it feel like in their everyday life? And I don't want to say that appearance isn't important. That would be a ridiculous thing to say. It is. And we do get our first impressions, even though they may be misleading and inaccurate and not the whole picture by somebody's appearance. But certainly we do want to present ourselves in a certain way. Sorry. It's just that when that's the only or the largest thing that we value about ourselves or about other people, we really miss the deeper, bigger picture.
What are some other ways to find value for your body?
Adjusting your expectations of perfection or the thin ideal, or that we're all supposed to be the same. Like every single person in the entire world is different and looks different.
We're totally geeking out over people the other day. Everybody's face is different. Everybody's blood is different. We can't have two in the same. It's impossible.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's wonderous. And yet we're all thinking we're supposed to fit into this, this size or this shape.
Yeah.
And the expectation, it is hard to shift it. It is hard to change it. What we do when we're treating somebody with an eating disorder and body image issues is we say this is the way that you can get the optimum nutrition and energy, right? Working with this dietitian who helps you to figure that out, moving your body in a way that is healthful and not harmful. And then we see where the body lands.
Yeah.
Right. And at any given time, if you think about it, that could be different at any age, at any time in your life. If you have an injury or an illness, if you have a baby, if you get your period at 12 years old, your body is changing. So don't the expectations of it have to change?
Absolutely. Okay. I encounter a lot of people every day. They tell me they hate their body. How can we help them feel better?
First, have compassion. Because it's a terrible feeling to hate your body. It's a terrible place to be. And I'd ask them if they're willing to change that, if they're willing to shift in that way. Can they do the work with you in the service of love and acceptance? Or is this driven by hate and suffering and pain? I would ask them that. Exercise and activity can really bring up a lot of trauma for a person through their body, something that they might not expect or experience.
Right.
So as a fitness professional, I would keep checking in with how are they measuring their workouts or their success, or are they constantly beating themselves up? Are they never doing well enough? Do they feel like they're letting you down or themselves down? Or are they over pushing? Are they overdoing? Are they overextending? Those are the things that I would find out, because we want to be good and gentle and kind and nurturing to the person to the person. And then hopefully what happens, body image is really, really tough to change, but we want to make it less important first.
Right.
And then as the person finds value for themselves, more value for themselves as a person, and values more about them, that body image doesn't seem to be quite as important, and it might not be quite as much of a preoccupation. So we really add in other stuff first, and then we hope that that sort of shrinks in its importance, and then we hope that it becomes more positive.
So that's what I really try to do when I start with a client. And like I said, I've definitely shifted my coaching over the years. I think more recently in the past couple of months, but I'm trying to make even bigger shifts now. And you see me even post on Instagram all the time. I struggle to find that balance between, I want somebody to come to me to help them lose weight, because I know I can help them do it in a healthy and sustainable way. There are so many fitness professionals, and I hate to even call them professionals, but claim to be fitness professionals that, like, for example, some woman told me, yeah, my coach has me on 1,000 calories a day, 5 days of training a week. And she's losing weight, but she's putting so much stress, doing so much harm to her body. And it's so hard for me to find that balance between talking about weight loss, because I want people to know that they can come to me. This is a safe place here, and I'm going to help them do it the right way. And between not talking about it, because I think it's going to be said, I want to be the one who's saying it to them. So that's what I struggle with, is finding that balance a bit more. But anyway, so when I bring on a new client, this is kind of how I've been shifting my program and preaching more. You guys hear me say all the time, healthy from the inside out, focus on how you feel. And I get, it's easier said than done for me. I almost feel guilty telling somebody to focus on how they feel, because they'll say, you know what, well, you look really good. It's easy for you to say. But that wasn't always the case. I didn't always think I looked really good. Now I think I look really good. But even if I looked this way 10 years ago, I would not have thought that. So I really am trying to focus more on positive biofeedback. Biofeedback is how our body speaks to us, getting good sleep, getting good water in, eating foods that make them feel good, not deleting pizza and wine and cookies and foods that more of an indulgence.
One of the reasons why I had a hard time coming to talk to you is because of the weight loss aspect of this. So I want to be really clear that I don't support weight loss, even though I understand it.
Right.
And if you can assess to find out if somebody is actively in an eating disorder before you start working with them, that's really one of the reasons why I'm here today, is because I want, there's such a divide about working with fitness professionals because of the weight loss thing. So we separate it out. And I think that we're doing a disservice to everybody in that way. My goal here today is to be able to help you, to help your clients, and to know when somebody needs some additional specialized treatment so that you don't do more harm than good.
Right. And that's what I want to learn.
And I want to be able to speak to the fitness community and be able to agree to disagree right now about the weight loss.
Yeah, of course.
Part of it, because I just think it's so important to be able to talk to each other and have that piece of, and have all that information that you're not taught.
Yeah.
So with assessing with Eat 26, what happens if you find somebody?
Yeah.
Right. What happens?
And can somebody, I'm sorry to cut you off before we get into this, can somebody take this test on their own?
Yeah.
Would you encourage people to take it?
Sure. Why not?
More information, the better, right? Okay. So what is this test?
It's called Eat 26. It's 26 questions, and it just sort of weeds out to see if there is an eating disorder, and if the eating disorder shows up as something mild or more severe. It really can't tell for sure, but it can give you an idea. And if you were able to do that, I think that would be really cutting edge for any fitness professional that did that. And to be able to say to somebody, okay, you're either you have a history or you're active in your eating disorder. And I'd like to be able to reach out to the team that's helping you in recovery or help you set up a team.
Now is a good time to talk more to the fitness professionals, but I don't want people who are not fitness professionals to stop listening. I think this is good information for everybody.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's say I'm talking to somebody and I see signs of an eating disorder. You know, I of course am not a trained therapist. I'm not trained in recognizing, but I think at this point in my career, I can recognize when somebody maybe is, let's say, a little bit obsessive, maybe overtraining too much, can't take a day off. How can I approach this person and kindly let them know that I'm here to help and something they might be struggling or something's not right?
Well, I would be really clear about that, right? So if someone, like you said, is overattached to their scale, you know, that's a question you can ask. How often are you weighing? Where do you weigh? How do you feel?
Yeah.
You know,
How does the scale make you
how
feel?
does the scale make you feel? How important is that number? How committed are you to the number on the scale? And then you have that opportunity to do some education.
Okay. So you would advise more so education, not just say like, hey, I see signs of obsession with the scale or disordered eating. I would recommend you see a therapist. I don't really feel comfortable saying that to someone.
Well, you're going to know right away if you do the E26. You'll know right away if somebody is.
So that's a little easier if I get the test to them.
That's a little easier. But if somebody doesn't show up with anything, but then you see that there are some behaviors, right? So they're over attachment to the scale or the numbers. Body checking, physical body checking, pinching themselves, putting their fingers around their wrist, expecting something different in the body, like a thigh gap, things like that, where they become really preoccupied with that and nothing else starts to matter.
Right.
Over exercising through injuries, through illness, through dangerous weather, like you said, not being able to take a day off, or not following your prescribed program, right? Over exercising and very often under fueling.
I work with a lot of women who do that. I think more so because they train a lot. Maybe it's not so intentional of like, okay, I'm exercising because I have to. It's more so, well, I've been told I need to exercise to reach my goal. I'm going to do it. And I've been told I need to eat less to reach my goal. I'm going to do it. So that's where I know I'm really good at is giving the proof, showing examples of how, you know, I have so many clients who I can't even tell you how many times I've increased a woman's calories and she reached her goal.
Yes.
So like proof like that is really helpful. But I guess back to my other question, like let's say I'm just having a conversation with someone, you would suggest just giving them tips and maybe just giving them another perspective.
Well, you're their trainer.
Well, no, I'm saying somebody, like I talk to a lot of people on Instagram. People reach out, ask me for tips. Say, let me ask you some questions about yourself first. And if I see any signs like that, how would you recommend going about it?
If somebody says that they have a history of an eating disorder.
Right, that's clear.
Right, you can ask them, do they consider themselves recovered and for how long?
Okay.
And what is their relationship with exercise in the past and now in the present? If they say they're active in their eating disorder, then you may have a concern. You can say, are you in treatment? And if they are in treatment, you might ask, would you be comfortable for me to talk to your therapist or dietitian? Okay. And then you have to get a consent sign because there's confidentiality.
Like if they want to work with me, I have to collaborate, so to speak. So what if somebody doesn't want to work? Like I'm not working with them. I'm literally just having a conversation. They wanted some tips from me. Like, hey, I'm struggling to hit over this plateau. I exercise every single day. I track my calories really strict. I'm eating 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day. And it's clear to me that there's something wrong. Should I just educate them on what is wrong? Or I'm not going to go and say like, here's Randi.
No, but you might say, that under eating can lead you to lose too much muscle and you might be under fueling.
Okay.
And so let's talk further.
Yeah. Let's educate.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk further about this. Yeah.
That's very helpful. I think you kind of already covered what the signs a fitness professional should look out for in their client. Is there anything else you want to add on that? Like, let's say maybe more so for a fitness professional training with somebody in person. I don't see my clients, but I am on their back end. I see their nutrition. I see if they're getting their workouts done. But I used to train people in person a lot.
Right.
It's a different experience.
Yes.
So how can we help those fitness professionals in person who are at the gym with their clients look out for any signs, but just be the best that they can be? Kind of take the pressure away from weight loss.
I would ask them how they feel in a public gym setting. If they have any uncomfortable feelings about it, I would ask them how they feel to be in front of a mirror. Maybe it's better not to be in front of a mirror because we take the focus off of watching that body and that appearance and whatever the head does and the thoughts go.
Right.
And you're now talking about their strength, their flexibility, their reps. How did the last one feel? How did the first one feel?
Yeah.
Marking their progress in terms of how they're performing instead of how they look.
I love that.
Yeah.
I would even, like, if I were to train a client in person now, I wouldn't even, let's say, ask that right off the gate. I would just train them not in front of the mirror because I want them to learn what it's like to feel their muscle moves, to feel it get stronger, to realize, okay, I'm shoulder pressing 10 pounds right now, but with consistent progress, I'm going to be shoulder pressing 15 pounds. Look how strong I'm getting.
Right.
So I want to encourage them to focus on that feeling no matter what.
Right.
Okay, that's really great. I have a really big network of online health and fitness coaches. And this is where some people probably get upset with how I say this, but a lot are underqualified. You don't technically need a certification to be a health and fitness coach, but you should have some kind of certification. But a lot of people just do it themselves and then we'll go. And I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong, but they don't have the full education. So how can we help other fitness professionals do what's right for their clients straight out the gate?
I think with all of the platforms that you have, being able to shift yourself and just be a model, be a pioneer in your field, be cutting edge, really, really help your clients in a way that is so much more than about weight loss.
Yeah.
Looking at the whole person, the whole body. And I think most fitness professionals that can do that are the ones that are the most successful in actually getting somebody to optimal wellness.
Right. That's what I want to do. I want to get to optimal wellness. And even like talking about this even more and just how I've been thinking more so over the past few weeks, I don't even want to as much advertise myself as a health and fitness coach. I love the fitness part. That's a really big part of my life. But it's not my whole life. And I don't think it should be somebody's whole life. I think health should be everybody's focus when going into a goal. It's very difficult to, I guess, even so, like for like our audience, for somebody who's looking for a coach, you see fitness professionals who are advertising really quick results, really drastic quick results. And then you see others who talk more about your health, which, I try to find the balance between showing my results of my clients and talking about their health benefits. So how can somebody look out for that? How can somebody know if the health and fitness professional has their best interests in mind?
Well, let's flag that right away.
Yeah.
Quickly, anything that promises to change your body or lose weight quickly, that's a red flag right there. Because it's not sustainable.
Absolutely.
And it's usually abusive to the body.
Right.
And so anybody who's actually marketing that either doesn't know, which, like you said, there should be more knowledge about that, or doesn't care.
Right.
And is just trying to, build their business.
Yeah. And I think, some coaches will say anything just to get the client.
Yes.
And as much as I understand, they have a business to run. They want to make money. We need them to realize that these are people and their health is more important.
So I would tout building strength, true self-care, building flexibility. building endurance, building stamina, regulating metabolism, all of those processes that you are doing, but the focus has been on weight loss.
Right.
And if that's the focus, then there's no guarantee you're doing all of that stuff.
True. And let's be honest, if somebody wants to lose weight, they're not able to if their body's not in a healthy state.
Well, or they are, but we know it's going to come back plus.
Exactly. It's a temporary fix.
Right. And so it's so interesting to me, right? So somebody goes to a trainer and they go on their diet and they lose weight and their body changes. And what happens? They go out into the world and everybody compliments them. They get all this validation, right? And so they keep it up until they don't. And then they gain the weight back plus probably, and then they're miserable and they go back to the same trainer because it worked last time. And this becomes, this yo-yo effect, which is one of the worst things you can do for your metabolism. But we do also live in a culture who wants a quick fix and we want things to happen fast. This is not one of them.
No. And I think that metabolism word, a lot of people associate metabolism with weight loss, with losing weight. And yes, that is one of its jobs, but your metabolism is one of the reasons you're alive. It's actually, its main job is to create energy, convert food into energy. So many people don't know that. That's why I have the podcast episode, your metabolism isn't broken, it's just damaged. And we damage it because we were never taught how to care for it. We were never taught that your body needs a minimum amount of nutrition every single day. And that's part of what I want to do is educate people on that and focus more on fueling our body with good foods. And, a lot of people do so. They say, all right, I'm going to go eat what I should be, what the calculation is. And then they end up gaining weight because they've been under eating for so long. And that's exactly that yo-yo cycle. Yeah. So I think that makes a really big difference for a lot of people, understanding that your metabolism's job, it's not to lose weight for you. It's not to burn fat.
It is really about using your energy resources in the most optimal, effective way for your body.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't want that?
Right.
Right?
I want to be so energized. I want to be like a crazy psychopath, able to run and do anything all the time.
So there is one thing I just wanted to mention.
Yeah.
And that is that, every coach, every trainer, every fitness professional has a body.
Yeah.
And so there's actually, I don't have the resource here, but there's actually a resource that allows you to do a self-assessment to see what are your beliefs about your body, about other people's bodies, what are your biases, because we all have them, right? We all have our bodies. And I think that would be something really interesting because you're bringing your body into this work with you.
Right. Of
And
course.
what kind of pressures and expectations do you have?
Yeah. Like me, myself.
You and
right? You know what? Like I almost hate to say it, but my body is my business. Like it's how I get clients because people want to look like me. And I really try to be so transparent with how long it's taken me to get here. Like I've fluctuated, I've yo-yoed. I did that crazy 3-day military diet. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Horrible, miserable. Like we've all done it. And looking back at it now, I'm so mad at myself for putting myself through that. When really, if I just stayed consistent, I would have gotten here a lot sooner. But yeah, I do feel this like pedestal effect. And I struggle with my body image sometimes because not everybody is perfect. And then it's really important for me to, I think now I have the tools to say, okay, no, I'm actually just, all right, I'm bloated. No, I'm just getting my period. Like that's why my stomach feels like that. And then I try to switch it even more like, hell yeah, I'm getting my period. Right?
Like how cool is my body?
How cool is my body? It gets its period. But then again, I don't want to say that and then make somebody else feel bad.
Sure.
Who doesn't get their period?
Sure.
So I guess my message that I want to put out with this episode is that, again, everybody is so specific and so individual. And if you're not sure, if you think your body's not running right, or if something doesn't feel right, what's right for me might not be right for you because your body is different and we need to learn about it. You need to learn about it.
Yes, and you can't do that by looking on social media or
No.
reading because it's your body,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So what you do is very personal.
Yeah, it's very personal. And that's why, like, people ask me, like, do you have like a workout plan? I say no, because your workout plan should be tailored to your lifestyle. I don't feel comfortable giving somebody a one size fits all plan. Okay. I train 5 days a week, but I fuel my body right to train that 5 days a week. If I gave somebody my workout split without knowing what their nutrition like is, without knowing how much sleep they're getting, if they have kids, if they're breastfeeding, if they get a consistent menstrual cycle, I'm doing them more harm than good because it's an unrealistic plan.
Yes. Yes.
So you touched base in the beginning. If you live in a larger body, it's hard to go to the doctor because one, they make you get on the scale, and then they measure your BMI, your body mass index, which is very outdated, but I wanted to hear your opinion on it again. And they are just going to tell you, okay, you're sick, lose weight.
Yeah.
How can we help somebody who struggles with that BMI, with going to the doctor, with being on that scale?
Well, there's a movement called Health at Every Size. So basically, they're saying that don't assume that if somebody lives in a larger body that they're unhealthy.
Yeah.
Don't assume that somebody lives in a larger body should lose weight, has to lose weight,
Right.
needs to lose weight, and if they don't, that there is something wrong with them. Right?
Yeah.
So I would look for a Hayes informed physician, and that's easier said than done. At least here where we live, at least. I would inform the doctor if there's been a bad experience before with other
Right.
doctors.
You can just ask them not to even comment on your weight.
I would ask the doctor. They might not listen because they're trained
Right.
to be on high alert. And everybody has the right to ask not to be weighed.
Oh,
Everybody has the right not to ask not to be weighed. And many, many doctors will ask you now, the nurses will ask you, is it okay if we weigh you? Some of them don't.
oh, I love that. I didn't even know that.
It used to be that when we had somebody that we were treating for an eating disorder, either the dietitian or the doctor would weigh them on a regular basis, but we would do blind weights because they would be so distressed about the number on the scale that it was counterproductive for the treatment at the
Right.
time. And so we would weigh blind, like backwards, and we would ask the medical staff not to tell
Okay.
the patient. And that was always a hit or miss because the nurse would say, oh, looks like you gained a few, good. Or, oh, looks like you lost a
Mhm.
few, great. But now we've had to really change the way we work with this because everybody's info is in the portal.
Yeah.
And everybody can see
Can
what
log
their
on
weight
and see,
is.
right.
Yes. So, for the average typical person, if they feel that they've been experienced weight bias or weight stigma, to advocate for themselves
Okay.
right away.
Say like, hey, I'm not comfortable with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'd appreciate if you didn't ask me. And I know that's, again, easier said than done.
Yeah.
But I think even just knowing that you can opt out, like I didn't know that you could opt out.
Oh, yeah. You can opt out.
Yeah.
And everybody should know that.
Noted. Let's cover some tips to break away from that scale. For somebody who just hates getting on the scale, but gets on it no matter what would you say to them?
Give the scale away.
Give it away,
Give
right?
it away.
Throw it away.
Give it
We
away.
don't need it.
Give it away.
Why does that number have any power
Give
in
it
your
away.
mind?
And if that's too extreme for somebody, put it on the highest shelf, put it in the crawl space, put
Yeah.
it in the attic. That means you've got to really think about and do stuff to go get that scale.
Yeah. And there's going to be steps to that. There's going to be thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a great tip. A lot of times I'll hear somebody say like, oh, I hate tracking their food. I hate, or I have to track my food.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know your opinion on tracking food.
I think it's different for every person. And
Right.
I think for you, it's diagnostic. For you, it's important to know. And
Very.
if the person is comfortable doing it, then great. That helps you to know whether they're fueling efficiently and you can help them.
Yeah.
I would say, let's say you have somebody new, I would just ask them, how does it feel? How did it feel to track?
Yeah, that's a great question to even add to
How
my
does it feel to track?
onboarding
Right.
form. How does
Yeah.
it feel? All right, you don't like tracking? Send me pictures.
Right. Or why? What happens to you?
Right.
What happens to you when you track? So I would get that. I would find out, get that
Yeah.
information. Pictures. Pictures are a great way to avoid the actual logging. However, just because somebody has a picture
Right.
of this food in front of them doesn't mean they ate it.
Right.
Or somebody could say to me they ate a sandwich with chips on the side, but they had 3 bites of the sandwich.
Right. I think also my brain kind of, a lot of people tend to overeat. I don't always think like, oh yeah, they might not have eaten the whole thing.
Generally, when people are overeating, there's some reasons for that. And
Yeah.
a lot of it stems from restriction.
Right, of course.
So when are they overeating? What are they overeating? Carrots? I don't think so.
They would be orange. We would know.
They would be orange. Like my son had an orange nose when he was a baby because he ate so many peaches and carrots. No, but truly, when somebody is overeating, and so that becomes habitual if they're binging or they're night eating or they're overeating at a certain period of the day, somewhere along the line they're feeling deprived, or they're
Right.
not getting the nutrients they need, they're feeling deprived, or they're not eating the yummy stuff.
Exactly.
So they're saving the yummy stuff for the cheat,
Yeah.
right? But then that becomes the on again, off again. That's the diet.
Exactly. That's the yo-yo cycle. I was trying to pull up a chart to kind of show you, but this is how I explain to a lot of people. That's why they get stuck in that yo-yo, because they end up restricting, cutting out all sugars, cutting out anything that brings them joy. Even so, it could be like their favorite drink, their coffee, whatever. And then they see, I hate to call it like a moment of weakness, but to them it's a moment of weakness.
Right.
And they say, oh my God, there's muffins out there right now. I'm going to go have 10 of them because I'm so starving. I didn't eat for weeks and my body is craving sugar because it's exhausted and it hasn't been getting enough. And then you do that, and then you're so angry at yourself and think you either need to go work it off or eat less again. And that's how the whole cycle continues.
That's how the cycle continues. And not only that, but it sets you up to really overindulge. So
Yeah.
if I'm not allowed to eat pizza and now I have pizza because this is my day, I'm allowed to have pizza. Well, I'm going to eat a lot of pizza and I don't want any left over because I'm not allowed to have it tomorrow. Yeah. So I have to eat it all or throw it away or give it away or something.
Yeah, I think everybody can relate to that.
Right?
Absolutely. And that's why I really try to encourage, there's, in my brain at least, how I think, there's tracking calories. And people think like, oh, tracking my food, like it's such a pain in the ass. But it's all about perspective. What if you looked at it as an opportunity to fuel your body, to know what's going inside of your body? What if you looked at it as getting to know your food, the foods that you eat? You're going to realize, like, one of my clients, she said this to me the other day. She had never really tracked before. And I said, well, it's important so I can understand where you're at and I can give you the best tips. She goes, I didn't realize that fruit was a carb. And I was like, you know what? You're right. How are you supposed to know that? You just think fruit, okay, maybe sugar. How are you supposed to know that sugars are associated with carbs? How are you supposed to know that that carb is actually going to give you energy, right? So it's educational.
It is educational. It also shows you how you eat.
Yeah.
So sometimes people are eating unconsciously or emotionally, which, by the way, gets a really bad rap. Emotional eating gets a bad rap. I give everybody permission. Emotionally eat if you want to. Just know that's what you're doing.
I would rather emotionally eat than emotionally drink. Right?
Yes. But, it gets a bad rap. So people feel shameful about it. Oh, I know what I was doing. I know what it was. But no, you know what? I'm feeling lonely. I'm going to go eat that thing. I know it's not going to help my loneliness, but it'll give me a little pleasure and comfort for a little while. And then when it's over, it's over. Yeah. Right. But it's this acceptance and knowing about what you're doing. So the tracking, I think, really gives you information about how you're eating. Exactly. Also, it's not just what you're eating. When we talk about the dietitians, this is not exactly my role, but the dietitians talk about food in terms of quantity, quality, variety, timing, and social circumstance. Okay. 5 categories. So if you address those 5 categories of your food and find some kind of a balance there, or at least understand your own patterns, So let's say variety. Now, how many people eat the same thing all the time, right? Same breakfast, same lunch.
You know what? You'd be surprised at how many people don't also, though.
Okay.
I see a lot. I see more people not eating the same thing than eating the same thing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, so I have this theory about also when you're eating the same thing. I'm one of those people. Like I have a couple different breakfasts.
Yeah.
And
oh my God,
I get
me
on
too.
a roll.
I literally make 3 different dinners. That's it. my poor boyfriend. He actually loves it. But I make 3 different dinners. That's it. That's what I'm good at. That's all I want.
But I think that sometimes we get bored too. So if you've ever eaten a meal that you love and that you eat all the time, and then afterwards you're not physically hungry, but you're not satisfied
all the time. Yesterday,
because you're bored.
Yesterday I did that
because you're bored.
Yeah,
and people don't realize that. I think
you need to be able to give a little bit of a change, but also a lot of this is what I see too. People think you need to follow a crazy recipe. You need to meal prep to the 9 and measure and drop, and that's why I cook the same 3 things. Like when I cook dinner, pasta, ground chicken, sauce, a vegetable. Simple. But I guess how can we help people find that balance between healthy and indulging and simple foods and not so simple foods?
It's really paying attention and trying to be open with themselves. I think it's just looking at their patterns and looking in those categories, what's happening. But it's all self-discovery,
right?
With guidance. And that's what's going to tell you where do you want to adjust and what do you think you want to tweak, more so than any diet or guideline. I think there are resources that I think would be really helpful for everybody, like the Health at Every Size movement. It's very controversial, I'll tell you that, but Health at Every Size, Intuitive Eating. It's a book, and there are 10 principles, and the first principle is reject the diet mentality. So there are 10 principles to it, and it's really interesting when people start to pay attention to what their body is telling them. And most people won't trust it.
No,
they won't trust it.
You need that proof. You need to, I think a lot of people too are so scared of, okay, what if I fail? But what if you don't? What if something really amazing happens? And people would rather stay where they are and try these fads and restrictions because that's what they've been told works. But they've also, we tell them that it doesn't work. It works right now. It's not going to work long term. So I think people just need the proof, and they really just need to trust themselves, trust that they're able, show themselves that they're able to be consistent and fuel their body and balance and have a bag of chips, but also have a salad.
I think it's sustainable, right?
Yeah.
Like finding what is sustainable, not just the quick fix. Although, don't we know that people are sometimes quick fixing for certain events?
Oh my God, yeah.
Right?
That's why, I worked with brides for a little while, and it was taking so much energy from me because these brides came to me, I have to lose 15 pounds in 3 months. Or even worse, I have to lose 20 pounds in a month. And I've denied people.
Right.
I won't work with someone like that. I'll say, I will help you start working towards that goal, but I will not help you do that goal in that time period. If you want to feel more energized, feel more confident, have a better relationship with food by your wedding in that 1 month, absolutely, I will help you work towards it. But that's not realistic.
Right.
So really, it's important to recognize when you're even setting an unrealistic goal for yourself. And don't be afraid to ask. Like, if you think something is not the way you should be doing it, unrealistic, reach out, ask somebody for perspective, talk about it with somebody, write it down on a piece of paper. Like, even just seeing it on paper, you would say, like, oh my God, what am I thinking?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, you asked about logging. I wanted to offer another resource. There's something that we use with for people who are recovering from eating disorders, and it's called Recovery Record.
Yeah.
It is such a great app because you can set it to your needs.
Okay.
But it will give you gentle reminders of, so one of the 5 categories was timing. And so if you're talking about metabolism, you're talking about optimizing the energy and the fuel that is utilized in your body. So Timing is pacing throughout the day. How often do you eat? Do you go do you go hours without eating? Do you skip meals? Do
Right.
you bunch up on your food? Do you wait until a certain time of day to start eating? All of those things are pacing and timing. How quickly do you eat when you're eating? Are you distracted doing other things? So that's all of the timing part of it. And Recovery Record has a feature where it will remind you.
Love that.
Like you could set it to say, okay, my eating events are every 3 to 4 hours.
Right.
Let's say you could set it that way. It'll gently remind you, time for lunch.
A lot of people need that.
Right. Don't worry, it's okay. There's still time.
Right. And I get it, like the crazy busy work day. Some people just forget. But it's so important to have the habit of fueling your body.
Well, what about our high schoolers? They have no lunch.
I know. I was just talking to somebody, she's a teacher. Her lunch period's at 10:30. So what does she do the rest of the day? So it's, it definitely is more, some things are out of our control. And I think we absolutely need to stand up for ourselves. But some things we can't change. We can't change our lunchtime. The school should be changing their lunchtime.
It shouldn't be permitted.
I agree.
It shouldn't be permitted. And if you're a parent that is signing off on that for your kid, and they're not going to eat in social studies or science because they're self-conscious or because they don't want their tuna sandwich to smell, that's the responsibility now of the parent. The school is not in charge of that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. So let me ask you one more question.
Yeah.
What's your message that you want to end on? What do you want your takeaway to be from this episode?
I would like coaches, trainers, fitness professionals to be better educated and more committed to a holistic wholeness approach and to really be able to help their clients achieve a wellness that is way beyond the size and shape of the body. Yeah. That the over-focus on weight loss is harming, even if they think they're helping. It's harming. It's harming the individual, and it is harming our culture at large. So to do better, just to do better with that.
Just to do better. And I think a lot of people don't even know that they're doing harm.
Yes. Because
they haven't maybe experienced somebody suffering. But I think it's important that everybody knows that everybody's suffering. Some more than others are in different ways and forms. And that just to try to be really careful with our wording. If there's any fitness professional who's just listening to this episode, hasn't listened to my podcast, it's called Diet Starts Never for a reason. I want us to stop advertising diets as something that we need to do to lose weight. My diet is always going to change. It's always going to evolve. It's going to change when I'm in my 40s, in my 50s. And if I'm stuck in this, I have to eat a certain way mindset, I'm going to be setting myself up for failure for life. So I want everybody to encourage their clients to figure out what works for them. Know that what works for you, somebody who eats, sleeps, lives, and breathes fitness, isn't going to work for the non-fitness professional person. And that's why I always, if I share a day of eating on my story, which I know a lot of people, they just don't know what to eat. So many people struggle with what to eat. I always make it clear, this is what I eat. This is my meals. I'm sharing an insight of my life because I've had success here and I've come really far and I'm proud to show it off. But you don't have to do what I do. You can take everything I say with a grain of salt, or you can just love watching me.
And we do, Rach.
Yay, thank you. And if anybody wants to contact you, work with you, refer to you, how can they find you?
They can find me at my website. It is the Time Is Always Now Therapy Group.
Okay, I'm going to link all of your contact information too. Okay, awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Rach. This was great.
Yeah, I had so much fun.